My name is Nduka Awurego. I serve as the Director General and CEO of the Scholars Chamber of Commerce and the Industry. And of course, just finished my tenure as the Director General of the Engr Chamber of Commerce and the Southeast Chambers of Commerce.
Okay, so why are you in Lagos?
We're here for the validation of the policy document as it has to do with the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. That's what we have just done today, and tomorrow we'll also be looking at the validation of the trade policy of the Nigerian government.
Great. So essentially, this has to do with international trade, exports, international trade.
Exactly.
So the NAPC recently came up with a slogan, export for survival. What do you think is the reason for coming up with that slogan? And so why do we have to export to survive?
Very simple. In my own understanding and my own little experience, I'm very sure, as much as I know you should also be aware of that without exports, we cannot survive as a nation. It is exports that will make our economy to grow. Someone made a very striking statement today that what we ought to use as funds to import should come from our exports. And when you look at the country today, we discover that we do more of importation than exportation. And that is why we are going down on a daily basis. So for us to survive as a nation, we must be intentional and very strategic about export. Yes.
Okay. So I like what you just said about export and importation.
Yes.
Now the truth is Nigeria makes about $46 billion annually from export. And the central bank turns around and gives all that money to the importer to ship the money overseas. That money should have been working for the Nigerian economy to help fortify it, but rather they send that money out to import, and so draining the Nigerian economy and creating jobs for the importing nations. I think that model has to change.
Exactly.
What do you think we can do to encourage more businesses to go into export as against import?
Fantastic question, and I'm happy you are also knowledgeable in this very area with the statistics that you have outlined, which is perfect. For me, that's the urgent call for trade balance. Trade balance is such a way that our exports and our imports should at least not be too far apart in terms of the equilibrium. And talking about what we should do, my answer is very simple. Let's look at our areas of comparative advantage. When we talk about, or at the time we are still negotiating whether Nigeria should join the African Continental Free Trade or not, a lot of people were of the opinion that we will be disadvantaged. Some said Nigeria will become a dumping ground. Yes, that's true, but then if we look at our areas of comparative advantage, we know that we may not have had everything, but there is something we have. Our population is an advantage. And that's why personally I am advocating for service export. Service export in the sense that there is no product export without service export. At least as you are exporting bitter cola, there are some services, especially when you are now talking about the value chain. Even if there is no value chain, you need somebody to do the delivery. You need transport around the export. You need communication around the export. You need logistics around the export. So those are the areas we're looking at. So service export is very imperative because of our population, because of our nature of skills and all that. And in Nigeria, we have a lot of educated people. We have a lot of people that have some technical know-how on doing one thing or the other. So let's look more in the area of service export.
Okay. So something happens when Nigerians import. They create jobs for the country of import, right? The country that they import from, they create jobs there, and thereby destroying the chances of creating employment for Nigerians. So we have for a very long time been practicing, say, from the farm gate to the seaport, or from the mines to the seaport. There is a need to add value so as to improve our earnings. Okay?
Yeah.
And so if you look around, you'll find the Indians and the Chinese going to our farms, going to our mines, exploiting our people because they have access to cheap funds, right? And so they can play in these sectors much more than Nigerians can ever, hope to play.
That's true.
What do you think we can do to eliminate that exploitation from the Chinese and the Indians?
Yes. I've always, like I said before, service exports. We need to train our people. That's one. Number two, we need to leverage on technology. By the way, we need to understand technology. We need to buy into technology. We need to welcome technology. And again, we need tools. Our people must be equipped. The government must be intentional about this. People must understand the technical know-how of doing things so that you don't even need the Indians in our farm in the first place. The Indians are there because they are trained. Two, because they understand technology. Three, because they are using technology. And not just understanding and using technology, they also have the implements, the equipment that are necessary or that are needed in this. So we need our government and the private sector to come together to embrace one, training, two, technology, three, tools that will enable us to have more people who will begin to do what the Indians are doing in our farms today.
Very beautiful. Now, you're passionate about service export.
Exactly.
I can see your passion for service export. So, but it's a new area, and I know that the NEPC recently created a service export department, which one of our own, Mr. Jackson, Arnold Jackson, is heading now.
That's
right. What can we do to proliferate the service, export in Nigeria and create an avenue for us to earn top dollar?
Yes, you can see what you are doing now. This is pure service, and this can be exported. And you don't even need the kind of facilities or infrastructure that enables one to, or even funding that will enable you to export services as you need in the area of commodity export. What we can do is to begin to, in fact, we are long overdue. I suggest that government should unbundle Nigerian Export Promotion Council, because the export of services is quite huge. For me, it is bigger than the commodity export. And so if it is high time that we unbundle the Nigerian Export Promotion Council and give birth to Nigerian Service Export Promotion Council, that council will now begin to promote service export. That council will be able to, as a government, begin to tour the nations to create opportunities for our people, to replace the Japan syndrome with service export, where people can go, work, render services, earn forex, pay their taxes to the country, and that is a strategic way of growing the economy. For me, that's what we should do this time, and that's the starting point.
Okay, so basically you're advocating the fortification of trainings, yes, so as to enable Nigerians have skills that they can either export through digital means or through their travel processes.
Fantastic.
Right?
Fantastic.
Okay. After the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement is a welcome development. Nigeria has accepted it. Nigeria is working on the policy document to make sure that we have a policy on intra-African trade, right? You can see the percentage of Africa-Euro trade, And then you can compare that to the intra-African trade, that is trade within the African nations. And you can see that really within Africa, trade amongst the African nations very low. It's very low.
Yes.
What can we do to improve on that? I want to believe personally that if we can pay more attention to intra-African trade, we have a lot more to benefit, from that than we do, in our trade between us and Africa and Europe or America, for example.
Yes. I quite agree with you. There is a whole lot to do, but like I said at the starting point, we should pay attention to our areas of comparative advantage. We should also understand globalization. The world has become a global village, and that is also where the African Continental Free Trade Agreement is heading to where we see Africa as one market. But then everybody must understand that trade is all about exchange of values. What is it that we have that we want to exchange, and then what are we exchanging it for? Then we build capacity in those areas. Building capacity will not be doing everything at a time. It's just like Nigeria is talking about one state, one product. We should be able to have, increased capacity in one item per state, per nation, per region, instead of just trying to do everything at the same time. We cannot do everything at a time. It is better to earn 100% in an item than to begin to earn 0.1% in everything. So it is important that we build capacity. And I call for government to begin to collaborate with the private sector. These two bodies must work as one. And our government should also be intentional. There's this area that we must look at as a government now. You don't just come at the end of the year and begin to create programs to retire, maybe budgets and all that, and nothing is done strategically. So it is time we become strategic about what we're doing and become intentional, so that at the end of the day, we'll be able to achieve tangible results. The Scholars Chamber of Commerce and Industry is an institutional chamber of commerce, and it is the first of its kind. We are familiar with the city chambers, the regional chambers, the national chambers of commerce, but this time around we considered creating a chamber of commerce that will interface between the institutions of learning and the marketplace, because the gap there is more than a gulf. And in intervening or interfacing between the institutions of learning and the marketplace, the chamber tries to bridge the gap between learning and earning. And how do we do that? You bring the scholars to entrepreneurs and take entrepreneurs to scholars. So that's basically what the Scholars Chamber is all about. It is a chamber of commerce that tries to interface between education and business.
Okay, so what's your mandate?
The mandate is just to bridge the gap. 1, 2, to train, and then in that training we try to do 3 things. 1, you prepare the people, you package the people, and you position the people. Positioning for what? For global opportunities. Opportunities in business, opportunities in skills, opportunities in services. And that's why I was talking about service export, because there are huge opportunities and people don't even know about them. So what we do is to shop for opportunities, create the bank for the opportunities, and disseminate those opportunities to the people who will most need, who will most especially need them.
Okay, so you will run a subscription model, right?
That's it.
Okay, throw some light on that.
Okay, we run the chamber in a subscription model way. Now, What that means is that just like every other chamber, companies can register. With a multinational, we have the class of multinationals, we have the class for corporate, where you have big companies, and then you have we have a class for the small and medium enterprises, and even for startups. But beyond that, we have the individual membership category, which has to do with the basic membership, where students can even come in. You also have the corporate membership, where young graduates, school leavers can come in, and then you have the professionals, where those who are already in one field or the other practicing can join, and of course where consultants can come in. That one is called the fellowship. So you can see we have basically two categories, the business class and the individual class, but each they are all subscription based.
Okay. And so in the Scholars Chamber of Commerce, I've heard people talk about travel, going to school overseas, scholarships, traveling for trade shows and business events. Please tell us about that.
Yes, chamber most times appear to be synonymous with international travels. The reason is because the Chamber of Commerce all over the world believe in B2B, that's business talking to business. We believe in trade missions, we believe in exhibitions, we believe in trade fairs. All this requires travels, and when it is happening outside your country, then it has to do with international travels. So a lot of people who want international opportunities, contacts, networking, join the chamber because it's a veritable platform for that to be achieved. And in the Scholars Chamber of Commerce, we go beyond trade missions. We go beyond just exhibition. We go beyond just B2B. We also look out for scholarship programs. And the world is filled with various scholarship programs. And most times these scholarship programs don't get to the targeted people. And what the Scholars Chamber does is to look out for these scholarship programs, possibly discuss with the organizers or the owners of the scholarship and buy into it, and then give them out to our members. So that's how the scholarship program came about. And for example, now we had to visit Hungary in the month of September this year to discuss with the Tempus Foundation, which is the government of Hungary NGO that oversees all the scholarship programs in Hungary. And they gave us the opportunity of bringing people to apply for one of their flagship scholarship programs, which is called the Stipendium Hungaricum. And our people are already taking advantage of that. A lot of our members are already applying, and that's a beautiful way to also study abroad, because people want also to network with people, not just to remain local, but to also gain international certifications and recognition.
Okay, I do understand that you have relationships with local institutions in Nigeria.
Yes.
Okay, what is that like?
Yeah, very simple. The Scholars Chamber of Commerce is meant for our local institutions here in Nigeria to at least buy into it. And already some of the universities have applied. We're already operational in one private university and one public university. And if not because of the strike action that took place this year, which we are still battling to recover from, a lot of other universities have filed applications, almost 5 of them that have filed applications that we are yet to look into. But right now, we are currently running in Ebonyi State University. We are also in Godfrey University in Enugu. So those are the universities where we already have our offices established, and our activities functioning in full terms.
Part of what you do, part of what the chamber does, is providing, like you said, human development.
Yes.
Human development. So tell us about your curriculum and how people can gain access to some of those courses.
Okay. Our curriculum is, first of all, let me talk about the intervention programs, because it is the intervention programs that give birth to our training programs. The intervention programs of the Scholars Chamber, like you rightly said, you've mentioned one, which is the travel and tourism, as it has to do with trade missions. That's for both business people and aspiring business people. We also have what we call GLOSEP. GLOSEP is Global Skills and Services Export Program. It's an intervention program that aims at replacing JAPA, replacing this JAPA syndrome, which has to do with migrating from our country to other countries, with a strategic model of services and skills export, where people can either leverage on technology to render services abroad, or go there without the intention of leaving their own country, but going there to work within a specified period of time and coming back to still invest in their country for our economy to grow. So that's GLOSEP. We also have the SeedNet, which we use as our corporate social responsibility to the churches, and of course we have WorldLink radio program, which is also like a business school on air. But in all of these, training and certification is at the forefront, and that's coming to your question now. So in that training and certification, we are collaborating with the Skills Development Council of Canada, whereby we train here, and the certificates, which is normally a diploma certificate, coming from the Skills Development Council of Canada. And our people are so excited about that, because that certificate is in various courses, like you rightly asked, in accordance with our curriculum. And the courses include productivity development. Productivity development aims at certifying you in your field, irrespective of the field or profession, but certifying you to prove that you can be productive in that your field. So it is a general course, and where a lot of people have obtained their diploma through us from the Skills Development Council of Canada, diploma in productivity development. We also have a diploma program on global skills and services. So where we train and prepare specifically for service export. We also have another course, which is international business development, where we look deeply into export and import business. And another certificate program, diploma certificate program in real estate marketing. We also have in fintech and digital investment. Of course, you see what is happening in our country today, the CBN policy. People need to be educated and certified to use technology to run financial services. So that's where we're looking at. And we are increasing in our curriculum, because we try to look at the areas of need and then build a course within that area.
Okay. I'm sure these things are not free.
Yes.
Right. So how does one become a member of the Scholars Chamber of Commerce and Industry? And give us an overview. I know you've touched on some of the benefits, but give us now a final overview of the benefits of becoming a member. Okay.
Becoming a member of the Scholars Chamber of Commerce is very simple, but like I said before, you have to recognize the fact that we have two categories of membership: the business class and the individual class. Now, in the business class, we have multinationals. They pay a huge amount of money, up to 1.5 million, to enroll into the Scholars Chamber of Commerce. We have the corporate membership class. They pay 600,000 naira for their membership subscription. And also we have the SMEs. SMEs pay 300,000 for their membership, while the startups pay 150,000. So that's the membership fees for now. But you can also come in as individual, and that is cheaper, because we look at people who may not have companies, but they have something to offer. So the basic class is basically for people within the class of students, university students, and all that. So they pay a token of 50,000 naira to subscribe into the Scholars Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Then you have the associate members. The associate members subscribe with 100,000. And of course, the professional members subscribe with 150,000. And finally, the fellow people who are regarded as fellows subscribe with 250,000 naira. So what in all of this, the membership, benefits are almost the same, because it offers you the opportunity to unlock these global opportunities within the shores of the Scholars Chamber of Commerce. And one beautiful thing about the Scholars Chamber of Commerce is that we are online. We operate an online university called SCCI, Online University of Commerce, Industry and Entrepreneurship, SOCI. So when you become a member, you can, on your own and at your pace, log on to the platform and then begin to do some of the courses there at your own time and at your pace. And with your link also, you can bring in other people to join the Scholars Chamber. And once your link is used to enroll anybody in the chamber, there is this commission, 20% commission, that goes to your account, just to show appreciation for your mentoring another person to join the Scholars Chamber of Commerce. Now, in terms of the scholarship programs, once you are a member, we automatically, if you choose to go for any of the scholarship programs, one of the benefits in that area is that the Scholars Chamber of Commerce will write the introduction letter. The Scholars Chamber of Commerce will provide referees if you don't have. The Scholars Chamber of Commerce will continue to advocate for your admission. We prepare you for the admission. We look for institutions that will take you. We even look for the scholarship that is most suitable to our members in their various categories. For example, there are women who are members. We look for scholarships that are actually targeted at women. There are Christians who are our members. We look for scholarship programs that are targeted at Christians. There are Muslims who are our members. We look for scholarship programs that are targeted at Muslims. So those are the kind of benefits that you can't get anywhere, but they are all in Scholars Chamber of Commerce and Industry.
Beautiful. Finally, is this an authentic organization? And if yes, how so?
Yes, of course. Yes, it is an authentic organization. And in Nigeria, we are registered as a Chamber of Commerce limited by guarantee by the Corporate Affairs Commission of this country. And so we have our board of trustees, we have our governing council, we have all the relevant documentations, as certificate of incorporation. They are all there. And as a Chamber of Commerce, we don't pay tax, okay, because we are regarded as a non-profit organization. And of course, beyond Nigeria, we have been certified by the Skills Development Council of Canada to become their training partner here in this country, Nigeria. And so, if that goes further to authenticate us, not just as a Nigerian organization, but also an international organization.
Beautiful. Yeah.